If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
We have Claressa Shields on the show. She will look to make some history in the world of boxing once again as she faces Ivana Habazin for the vacant WBO and WBC junior middleweight titles next Friday, January 10th in Atlantic City. It's going to air on Showtime. Happy to have the reigning undisputed middleweight champion herself on the show. Claressa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So we're about 8 days away from this fight as we record right now. A lot has happened in regards to this fight between you and Ivana. It was supposed to happen in August, then in October, with everything that happened at weigh-ins. This fight finally happens next Friday. How excited are you to get in the ring and have this fight once and for all after the delays and all the shuffling of the deck?
I'm just super excited. One, because it's just like last year was such a setback for me. I'm ready to start 2020 off with the knockout. I dislocated my knee last year. The fight got rescheduled because of the incident at the weigh-in, and now we're here in 2020, and I'll be the first, card for a Showtime to be showing on 2020. So I'm just ready to bring it in a year with a bang, and just for Ivana, honestly, she's just another opponent. She's not anybody special, and she may have worked her way up to the ranks to be, ranked number one at 154 to fight for these belts, but our skills do not compare. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go in there and walk all over her.
Is there anything about her game that impresses you at all? You say that it's just another fight. She's climbed up the ranks, but you don't see anything special of her. What do you mean when you say that?
Skill wise, she do a lot of covering up. Look, she just soft. I'm sorry. Like, I have no respect for the girl. Like, she's soft. Only thing I say that's really good about her is that she got good hand speed, but she don't have no head movement. Uh, my skills are just way above all the women in women's boxing, way above, and that's why with her, like, the reason why she gets no respect is how she carried herself after the incident that happened in Flint. She started playing the victim, trying to call me a thug, like I had anything to do with the incident, and just, not really being a sports like person, not being understanding that we both trained hard to make that fight happen, and that the incident didn't just affect her, it affected me also. And she just kind of went on this little, race rant, and I'm a thug and I'm a gangster, and I ain't never been to jail. So, it just kind of made me not like her as a person. And when I don't like somebody as a person, I go out there and put the beat down worse.
I wanted to ask about October. I know you've talked about it a bunch. You mentioned it here. Did it take some time for you to get over all of that with everything involved? Like not being able to fight in your hometown, people forget you haven't been in the sport that long. So these opportunities don't come all the time. You've accomplished a lot to get to this moment. To see it all just go away the way that it did it take a while, a little bit of time to get past all of that?
Oh my God, it took a while to get over it because it's like I'm such a person who believes in like perfection, especially close to the fight. And I felt like I did everything right in camp. And then to have something happen that canceled the fight that wasn't in my control and didn't have nothing to do with me, it just threw me for a loop, honestly. And it really kind of almost sent me into a depressive mind state. But instead, I just had to like make sure I go to church, make sure I travel, make sure I keep training, stay away from the internet, all these internet trolls and people, coming at me 24/7. And and then I didn't get my check for the fight, which, was supposed to set me up, financially for bigger things to come. And I just kind of like set my life back a few months more than what it already was, because I had just dislocated my knee and had the fight pushed back 2 months. And then I had got ready for October, then the fight got canceled. And it's like now my life is kind of on hold, for 8 more days, which has really been 6 months for me. And I only fought one time last year, so it was kind of it was really hard, but more than anything, it was just shocking. Every time I hear the situation come up, I'm just like, I cannot believe that shit happened. Like it's something that I've never had anything happen like that for a fight. I've been to the Olympics twice. I've been to plenty of world championships, Pan American Games. I've even fought in Flint before, and nothing like that has ever happened. So it kind of, it kind of shook me up, and it made me just, want everything to just be more tighter, have more, it's not my job to have more security, but make sure that it's security there, and really um, really I don't know what else that I could have done to prevent it. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the coach, kind of egged it on or whatever the case may be, and not saying that like that he was that he did that so it should happen. I'm just saying like when you're in Flint, and I grew up there, you just can't do stuff like that. And like I said, I don't think it was anything that I could have done to prevent it, because I just didn't know that anything like that could ever happen, if that makes sense.
Yep, makes all the sense in the world. You had sort of touched on it, and I've talked to countless professional fighters over the years, and a fight itself is enough to get a fighter out of bed and motivated. But if you can find a chip to put on your shoulder, most fighters try to find that when they can. With this, Ivana will, and she said as much, sort of use that situation in October as a chip on her shoulder and use it as extra motivation. She's had some things to say about you, like you mentioned. Could that potentially be detrimental to her? Do you think she may come out a little too emotional in this fight next Friday? Is that something you even think about?
She's hell of emotional. She was emotional before. Before the incident happened in Flint with her coach, at the press conference the day before, they weren't even speaking. They didn't even ride in the same car to the press conference. She was calling my promoter Dimitri, telling him like she's not getting in a car with him. She doesn't want to ride with him. She's not talking to him. And this is the day before the weigh-in. So whatever problem that they had, I'm happy she got her a new coach, but she's gonna come in very emotional, and just come in there, and she can have a chip on her shoulder, but any girl that show up to fight me, she better show up with her A game anyway. So I'm prepared for whatever she brings, and she'll be out of there before the 6th round for sure.
Do you feel like the fight has become a little more personal for you because of the things she said about you?
I don't really take stuff personal. I'm more take it as just disrespectful. One, saying that me and my family are some thugs. Trying to say like there won't be any thugs there to protect me inside the ring and all this crazy stuff, when I've never, and when all I did was show her respect leading up to the fight. I may have did my trash talking, but I was never disrespectful to her. She took it to a personal level when she's like, one, as her coach is calling my sister bitches and talking about she's a monkey and he had knocked that B out and all this other stuff. My mom was sitting right there. So it's like you're not only disrespecting my sister, you're disrespecting my family now. You're disrespecting my mom, my dad, my cousins, everybody who was there, or anybody who had any kind of love for me. And then she's talking about I'm the thug, when I sat there in a situation and didn't say one word. When I sat there and told my sister, like, hey, just go and sit down. Don't even argue with him. Just go and sit down. And he just sitting there going off on her, and Ivana got the nerve to call me a thug. No. Honestly, as I hate that the stuff that happened to her coach happened, her coach was a thug, a complete thug at the fight, and he should have been removed, and nothing would have never happened. If he would have got removed when he was calling my sister bees and monkeys and everything, the situation would have never happened. It would have never happened. But she's like, everything happened because of me, because I want to check my weight before the actual weigh-in. I want to make sure that I'm on weight for a weight class that I haven't fought at since I was 16 years old. And that's where it's like, for me, it's like, why should I continue to be respectful when she's being totally disrespectful? And not only am I a world champion, I'm a two-time Olympic gold medalist, the only boxer from America to accomplish this. I built myself up from the bottom to where I am now. Like, no extra help, really no guidance. Only thing I've done is just love boxing and box, and to try to have her destroy my character that I worked so hard for over something that was caused by her coach. But now I'm the thug, and she kind of flipped the script and said a whole bunch of other things, like I'm trying to get out of fight with her, I'm scared of her, I wasn't on weight, and try to say that I'm the reason that everything happened. That's what really pissed me off. But the thing is, I've been using my anger for a long time to fuel me. So I really didn't have any anger to fuel me, but to just win the belts. Now the anger is, one, you disrespected me, disrespected my family. You lied on me. She's gonna get beat up worse than Hammer did. Way worse.
So with that, in 8 days, if all goes according to plan, you have the chance to become a 3 division champion. You have the chance to accomplish that feat faster than anybody else has done it in the history of boxing. That includes Lomachenko, who many consider to be the best pound for pound fighter on the planet right now. What will that all mean to you? And in addition to that, what will that all mean for women's boxing as a whole to have you on the top of that list holding that record?
You know what? It's just more history is showing that women can do what the men do. Women can even do it better. I don't know. Like you said, Lomachenko holds the record of 12 fights to becoming um a 3-time division world champion. I'll hold it within 10. And not only am I going to be a 3-time division world champion, but I'm also undisputed. Also have 2 Olympic gold medals. Lomachenko is not undisputed. He has 2 Olympic gold medals. The only thing that we have in common is 2 Olympic gold medals. And then in 8 days, like the 3 divisions, but I still hold being undisputed over him. So it's just showing that, that women are willing to take the challenges and that we can do what the men do, and we can make history. So I'm going to be at the top of that history list ahead of Lomachenko. And they'll take our sport more serious and know that, we, all the women may not be as, what can I say, be as daring as myself, but there are some girls that's coming up who won't be afraid to take challenges and everything. So I'm really just looking forward to actually making a history, seeing how things turn out after, and just looking forward to my next fight, because this fight has been my next fight for way too long.
You're just excited to get this one behind you at this point.
Yeah, I'm just ready to just get in the ring, beat her up, get out.
I don't know if it's fair to even compare the two. I don't know if it's different comparing the two, but you won the gold medals. You have history in that aspect, becoming the first boxer in history to win back-to-back Olympic golds. What will mean more to you, breaking this record or what you've done at the Olympics? Is it even fair to compare the two in your opinion?
Me winning my second Olympic gold medal was like the best day of my life. Honestly, like I don't know a day that could be better than that. Um, World championship titles, becoming undisputed. I just say it's different because when you're in the Olympics, you're amongst that 500,000 people or of who are the best in the world, and just to be knowing that you're number one in your sport at your weight class, and you're making history. It's like making history is one of the biggest points, but the Olympics is one of the hardest tournaments to win. It's actually harder than winning a world title. Even for the men and women, I fought six Olympic fights total, 3 in each Olympics, and I've been to the Olympics with guys who couldn't win one fight, couldn't win two, and all they have to do was, some people have to win one and they could fight for the gold medal, but they couldn't win one match to make it there. So for me, the Olympics was my hardest tournament, and I fought against the best in the world, and I came out on top twice. Um, Only thing I can say about this fight is that I'm getting paid a lot more money. Um, it's history amongst the professional fighters, and it's the main event on Showtime. So just with that, I think that's groundbreaking in itself. I just don't think I could. I would have to see like the day of the fight and after the fight and how it goes, if it makes me feel more happy than I felt winning my second Olympic gold medal.
Fair enough. And we discussed this and touched on this a little bit. And I'm not just blowing smoke because I'm talking to you right now. I've said before that I don't feel even close that women's boxing gets the credit and the due that it deserves. Of course,
Yeah.
for you being on the marquee, being a focal point, headlining a card on Showtime, it's huge. It's a step in the right direction. But, with making the kind of history you hope to make, do you hope this incites and creates some change, sets the bar much higher in the boxing community when it comes to how women's boxing is being looked at and portrayed right now?
Yeah, I definitely hope to bring some more fire to the table for women's boxing. I think that women's boxing is way more exciting than men's boxing. We make some of the best fights. We go out there, we only got 2 minutes to work. We got 10 rounds, and we get out there and we get busy. And there's blood, there's tears, there's bruises, And we still get out the ring with a smile on our face, regardless of whatever it is. And I think that women's boxing, we have some boxers who are very skilled. Of course, myself, but Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. We got some really good boxers and who have dedicated their life to the sport. I don't think that it's women's boxing that don't get the attention. If I'm saying it right, I think that it's more of the promoters behind not putting behind the women as much as they do the men. And what I'm saying by that is on every UFC card or MMA card, you see that there's a women's bout. Either it's the undercard or it's the main event. And for boxing, you can see 20 men boxing shows and only see 2 women on the card on one of those cards. And it's like, if they want women's boxing to grow, they have to give us that help. Like when you build up a man fighter, nobody just knows who this man fighter is. I mean, even though Deontay Wilder has, knockout punches and power, he's still not known all around the world. And it's like they have to put that back in behind him as when they were building him up, like putting him on the undercard of bigger fighters. And putting his face out there and him going and doing the Breakfast Club and everything. But I think one of the main things is that when they're having these boxing shows, there are not women on each show. You only see a women's boxing every now and then. Throughout the year, you'll probably be like, oh, Claressa Shields fought this year, Katie Taylor fought this year, Amanda Serrano fought this year. And that's, 12 months of boxing, and you can only mention 3 females, and if you remember the name of our opponents. And that's not good for the sport. I think that's something that's holding us back. And I think that's something that UFC have learned, and that's why their women's MMA program have been growing so fast, is because they put them on every single card. Like there's not an MMA card that's being televised that does not have a women match. Not one. Every card has a woman, rather she's a TV opener or she's the main event or she's the co-main. She's on the card. She's being showcased, and that's growing her popularity. And in boxing, we need to do the same.
What about an all-female boxing card? I think that would be something that would get a lot of people's attention, especially, having you as the headliner, putting Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano as well, and then just kind of loading some of the up-and-coming talent underneath. Is that something you think that could pique the interest of the boxing community?
I definitely think that it will show that we have a lot of fans when we're together, for sure, but we still need to be built as individuals. So I would love to have an all-female card. That'd be great. We got Franchon Cruz at 168. I'm at 160. Katie Taylor at 135 and 140. So Amanda Serrano up at 131, 140. We got Sinisa Estrada, one of the smaller girls, 108, 115. I think that the all women's card would be great. I think that it would show like how many views we all get coming together. Oh, it would be millions, because we all have our separate fans, and some of my fans will probably learn about Katie Taylor, or they'll learn about Amanda Serrano, and their fans will learn about me, and then it kind of give us all that boost together. But I feel like still, as throughout the year, every fight card, I mean, from PBC to Fox to Showtime to Showbox to ESPN, they all need to showcase, to the zone, every boxing match to have a woman on the card. And it don't have to be a big name woman like myself, because I feel like I'm the tier 1. I feel like the other women who are tier 2, tier 3 need to be also showcased and built up, so we can keep building opponents for those top tier ones, and just showcasing like, hey, women's boxing is on fire. Tonight we have, for the TV opener, we have this person. I think something that Christy Martin team did very well building her is having her on the undercards of Mike Tyson. Nobody would have knew Christy Martin if she didn't fight on the undercards of Mike Tyson. No matter what she was doing inside the ring, that's how she built herself up. She was on the undercards of Mike Tyson, and that's how people learned about her. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we need to continue that and need to voice that more, not just promoters promoting us and putting us the main event or co-main. We need to be on every women's boxing need to be showcased throughout the year.
I agree with that 100%. And since you mentioned, the UFC, I know you've been linked to mixed martial arts. I know you've been linked to Amanda Nunes. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that in a moment. But I'm curious because of the success you've had in the boxing ring up to this point, and you've done it so quickly. What is the motivation for you to come over to the MMA side of the combat sports world?
You know, honestly, like the motivation is just like the success, for me, the stardom, and just being able to say like, hey, I did both, like I had enough heart to do boxing and be the best in that. And then I came over here to MMA and I kicked ass over here. That's more the motivation for me. I remember when Amanda Nunes knocked out Chris Cyborg. And I remember like somebody, I don't know who said it, but they were like, she had the best hands that we've seen in the game in any sport, boxing, MMA. And I'm just like, no, no, we are not going to do that. You're not going to say that Amanda Nunes has better hands than me, and I'm a two-time Olympic gold medalist in boxing. Like no, that I just wasn't going to settle for that, and that's more why I wanted to have a fight with her in boxing because when she beats some girls in UFC, some girls she's knocked out with kicks, but majority her hands. She knocked Chris out with one punch. So it's like for me, I want to get in there and I want to fight her because of that. Like she is, MMA contains boxing. Boxing doesn't contain MMA. So that's why I thought the fight would be more fair with boxing. But I can understand her feeling like she's coming in at a disadvantage with boxing. So that's why I said I would gladly, learn some UFC, learn some jujitsu and some wrestling. And I already know how to box. So just get in the ring with her, get in the cage with her up on that side, just to make it fair because Mayweather beat up McGregor in boxing, but who knows how Mayweather would have done in the cage with McGregor. So, and I feel like I'm young enough to actually take the time out and learn these things and actually go in there and win. Like I don't go into nothing like, hey, hopefully I win. I go in there trying to give myself 100% win factor. Me from watching Amanda Nunes ringside, I could tell you that um one, I'm way faster than her. I'm in way better shape than her. And I probably punch harder than her too because I'm coming down from 160 and I think we will fight at 155, 145. So that's why I was like, we could make the fight happen. But she's all of a sudden, saying like, boxing isn't her thing and all this other stuff. Now she doesn't like boxing all of a sudden. And it's like, how you don't like boxing when you clearly knock girls out in MMA? You don't even kick them. You barely get any submits. You're knocking girls out with your hands. So it was kind of confusing to me, but it just shows me where her heart is at. And then when she just kind of went to the whole, oh, I'll drag her down to the ground and I'll submit her. She got to back all that shit up once I start learning some shit because I'm not gonna take that like now that's my motivation. Like her saying that she'll submit me and she'll choke me out instead of, boxing me in an MMA. Now I'm actually about to start learning some stuff so it doesn't happen. And I'm gonna give her the hardest challenge of her life if we ever do fight. Whether it's in boxing, whether it's MMA, whether it's both. But for me, I got enough heart to do both. I don't know about if she has that.
So you're okay if she says no to boxing, it's just you coming MMA, coming to the UFC and fighting her. You're okay with that?
Am I okay with that? No. I definitely want to fight her in boxing because I want to do both. But um just the fact that she's already said no kind of I'm already in her head and she knows that she can't beat me in that. But now even going inside the cage with her, she's going to know have that in her head also. Like I can't beat her in boxing. I have to take her down to the ground. I have to try to wrestle her. But that's gonna be her downfall too because I know her game plan now. Like I know what her game plan is. She should have just kept it to herself, but um I'm starting my training this year, 2020. So um, I've been able to catch on to a lot of things very, very fast and learn. And I have some great people who reached out to me. I'll be going to camp with Jon Jones, I believe, end of February, just to see if I can get into the whole training thing and doing what he does because he's so great. So um, I'm really taking it serious, and I'm not taking her lightly. So she gonna have to back up all that stuff that she said for sure. Like she gonna choke me out and gonna submit me. I want to see her do it.
So you're going to go to JacksonWink in February and see how it goes?
Yep,
Very cool.
looking. I'm looking forward to it. I've already had my wrestling done with Adeline Gray, who's Olympic wrestler, world champion wrestler, probably like 3 times. And me and her did some work together, and she was just shocked on how quick I caught on to doing the takedown and avoiding takedowns. She kind of like was putting everything in my head just right there, and I thought it would be the worst training ever because I hate when people grab me. Just in boxing, being a boxer, you always want to be free and want to be loose to punch. But when like me and her was working, I just I wasn't irritated when she was grabbing me, and I wasn't like, if you teach me how to have some defense and how I can get the takedown myself, I'm perfectly fine. I don't like going into anything blind. So just with that, it was a great practice. I learned a lot. I have plenty of video just in case I forget, because I'm practicing it every day. And I'm just ready to get like super consistent with it and see what I can do. Even if I don't fight Amanda Nunes, I'll still be coming to MMA doing something. And we've been in talks with um PFL, UFC, Bellator, and also One Championship. We've been in talk with all of them, and some things have come, um, kind of getting close to like a deal with somebody. We don't know yet. We're just trying to, weigh our options and see what it is. But I'm definitely going to try my avenue in MMA. Just have to see who got the best offer and who got my weight class for one, because I'm a 160 fighter, so I'm a 160 fighter, so going down to, I can make 155. I'm making 154 in 8 days, but I think 155 would be more healthier for me. But I can make any weight class that I want to make as long as it's not under, 147, 145. But I'm more comfortable 155, 160 ish. So I'm just trying to see what's the best route for me to go, but I'm definitely gonna try my luck in MMA. And it won't just be luck. I'm gonna try my skills too, because I'm gonna learn it, because I hate to lose.
I think you mentioning PFL. I think you and Kayla Harrison would be interesting because one, it's 155, so that's closer to your weight class. You get two
Kayla's
Olympic
my
gold.
sister. I'm sorry. Like, I love Kayla to
No?
death. Like, that's my.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, honestly, like, me and her talked before, like, just on like some. We got interviewed about this together when we were on, I believe, TMZ. And honestly, like, I love Kayla. Like, I was cheering for her die hard. Like, just the other night when she won $1 million and became the PFL champion at 155. That's not somebody who I see myself fighting, just because it would be hard for me to get up for that fight, when it's more of like, girls who I fight, you kind of got something against them, or something like that. When it's more of like, Kayla is really a good friend to me. We've been friends since 2011. um, Went to both Olympics together. She did judo at the same weight class that I did boxing, and we've always been like super supportive of each other. So it would be hard to make a fight between us, But um, I love her though. She's skilled. She's a great person. I just don't see myself fighting. And that's not out of fear. That's out of just love. Like, and you get those friends who you have, and you're like, this is a friend forever. And that's kind of how Kayla is for me. She's like a friend forever. And I don't that's like you saying like, oh, me fighting against Chris Cyborg. I don't think it'll ever happen. You know what
Right.
I mean? Unless like, oh, we got beefed out about something, you know what I mean? But I don't really get beefed out with people who I'm friends with. Like, if I consider you a friend, more than likely we'll never be beefed out unless you like cross me or something. So, and never say never, but I just don't see it in the future.
So if, let's just say, a magical combat sports genie came to you and said, you and your manager, and said, Claressa, we'll give you what you want financially and otherwise, everything you need, we'll make it happen. All you have to do is pick who you want to fight. Who are you picking? Is it Amanda?
um, I'm gonna pick the best. You know what I mean? Um, and and even if my genie did come to me and say everything like that, it would still be like, I have to build myself up to where I know, like, you don't, like, if a girl was just to come to boxing and have no boxing experience and get in the ring with me, she'll get killed. She'll get demolished, right? So I feel like I had the same respect for MMA. Like, I'm not just gonna go in there and not have any fights and then fight Amanda Nunes. Like, I'm gonna go in there and get my feet wet, fight against some girls who know jujitsu, who know some wrestling, who know how to punch, and see how I fare against them before I just getting there with the big dog. But I'm not going to take forever getting there with the big dog. Like, I'm going to fix my mistakes in the previous fight, get better, learn more, kind of just start going into it. Like, the main thing is start my training and to see if I can even, like getting kicked in the face and the whole elbowing thing. And if I can even learn how to elbow somebody, like, that's illegal in boxing, it's illegal. So, elbowing somebody has to be like, okay, wait a minute, I'll have to get used to it and have to get comfortable in doing it. Even like a backhand, illegal, kicking illegal, slamming illegal. So it's like I'll have to get that switch in my mind of cutting off my boxing just for the most part, like the rules of it, and actually getting into like MMA where there's kind of like everything goes except for biting ears.
We'll see that Flint, Michigan grit coming out tenfold once you get in the MMA gym, right?
100%. Like, I am a workhorse. Like, I work my butt off for every match, no matter who they put me in there with. That's why I outclass all these girls, because I don't take anybody lightly. Like, I get in the gym and I work my ass off, and that's why I've been undefeated for so many years. And even in the amateurs, I had a record of 77 wins, 1 loss, 19 knockouts. Now I'm pro. Now I'm pro, and I'm 9-0, 2 knockouts. I got 8 world title belts and 9 fights, and now I'm going for my 3rd division in my 10th fight. I'm finally about to be double digits, so I'm super happy about just everything that's going on right now. And
What a
I
whirlwind.
know that I can learn anything. And once again, I'm 24, so all these older chicks who are talking trash better know, like, I'm not even in my prime yet. So I would be careful about what I say, and if anybody, I just be quiet, because you don't want to wake up the lioness inside of me, for sure.
Last question for me. Do you
Yeah.
feel like an MMA debut could come sometime in 2020? We're looking a little further so you can hone your skills and kind of put everything together.
Yeah. I think he's definitely coming in 2020, like toward the end of the year, honestly. I know that when I start dedicating myself and I start learning this stuff, that I'm gonna want to be the best as I can be. But I definitely gonna want to get my feet wet. And I know that my boxing surpasses all the girls in any of the MMA leagues. My boxing alone. And just like I'm a hell of a street fighter too. You know what I mean? So don't let my boxing fool you. Like, I get down with the get down and get up with the get up. So I'm really just have to learn about the techniques of, some jujitsu stuff and getting put in stuff and getting out of stuff. But I think it'll be an easy transition for me, because just the way that I box, like, me and Holly Holm are 2 different boxers. Like, she was a boxer who moved and not really that aggressive. Me, I've always been aggressive, always had fast punches, always been able to hit very, very hard and stun people. And so I imagine me fighting in, I'm fighting in 10 ounces now, then going down to fighting in 4 ounces and hitting as hard as I hit, and being as fast and explosive as I am, that my boxing will do me great justice, and that when I learn the other stuff, it'll just kind of add to it, and then I become like this whole, wrecking machine together. So I'm looking forward to just all of it, honestly, all of it.
I'm looking forward to it too. You're giving me goosebumps right now, Clarissa. I'm not going to lie. We got to take care of business next Friday in Atlantic City. History and the WBC and WBO 154-pound world titles are on the line as our guest Claressa Shields takes on Ivana Habazin. If you can't make it there, you can watch all the action on Showtime. Clarissa, before I let you go, what's the message for the fans, for the boxing community, for Ivana herself? What's the message for everybody heading into this historic fight next Friday night?
Message for everybody who's watching the fight is just don't blink, pay attention. If you don't know any boxing fundamentals, you're gonna learn some on January 10th. And just for any of the has been fans, any of them, I'm just gonna tell y'all, like, I'm about to Deontay Wilder her. So you guys better get the paramedics there, make sure that the ambulance is there, because she about to be asleep. I'm about to do to her what Deontay Wilder did to Dominic Brazil.
Fair enough. We will leave it at that. Clarissa, it was an honor. Happy New Year to you. All the best to you on January 10th, and hope to see that MMA debut and the progression in the gym take part throughout the year. Really appreciate the time today.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.